This isn't just some get-rich-quick money scheme.
What is it that you are passionate about? You see, being intentional, doing it is the foundation. Starting it is the foundation. I have a choice of the direction that I want to go. And that I don't have to listen to my parents.
This is how you can build true generational wealth. But before we hop into today's show, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so that you can be notified every single time we drop a video. Now, let's hop into the show.
So most millionaires are between the ages of 60 through the age of 79 years old. Out of the 22 million millionaires in the US today who are under the age of 30, there's only 1.7 million people out of the 22 million millionaires in the US who are under 30 years old. I did a little bit of research because I really wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and see, okay, by what age would you be considered, if you make over this income, would you be considered to be in a top 10% or the top 1%? From ages 20 to 24, the top 10%, you need to make about $72,000 a year gross. To be in the top 1% is going to be double at $150,000 gross. Ages 25 through 29, about $106,000 to be in the top 10%, and $205,000 to be in the top 1% of the population in the United States of America. Now we get into the millennial, the young millennial age bracket. 30 to 34, you need to make about $147,000 a year to be in the top 10%. You need to make about $254,000 to be in the top 1%. My age bracket, 35 through 39, you need to be making about $185,000 a year to be in the top 10%. And to be in the top 1%, you need to be making $430,000 a year. As I was sitting back and I was reading and studying, they're saying that by the year 2054, that the average net worth of the African-American Black people will be 0 to negative. And I said, I refuse to be a part of that. And I say, I want to make a video on, and I want to make a show. I want to have a show talking about how did I make millions in my 30s? What is it that I was doing? What did I do that took me above the 1% range? Let's just be honest and transparent there. My business has done very, very, very well. And so I want to give you some practical things today that you can work on right now that will put you in the top 10%, get you to the top 1%, and eventually get you in the less than a 1%, which is the millionaire status. And so I want to start off with number one, which is this is something that is very, very special and unique to me. All right. Dial in and watch this is what I want you to do. Y'all heard Michelle earlier. She said subscribe. I want you to hit subscribe for sure. And I want you to have your friends subscribe to the channel as well, because here's why. I'm going to be doing more content, more teaching like this, because at the end of the day, it's not about you making millions. It's about you getting out of debt. It is about you having options. It is about you having opportunities. It is about you having financial freedom. And I know the only way I can help you get out of debt is if I help you make more income, if I can help you keep your income, if I can help you shift and change your mindset so that we can have more income coming in and less income having to go out. Because we're going to spend some money. I want us to enjoy. I want us to do whatever we want to do. But at the end of the day, I understand this one thing. You can't get out of debt if I don't help you make money, if I don't help you build true wealth. So you got to hit subscribe, because I'm going to be dropping content as much as I possibly can for the rest of this year and especially going into next year. All right. So here's number one on how to make millions in your 30s and in your 20s. And if you're in your 40s, you could do this as well. But I really want to engage and just help people in their young, youthful days. How do we do this? Here's number one. You got to find your sauce, AKA you got to find your wealth choice. How do you fit into the world? How can you use the gifts, the skills, the talents that God has given you to contribute to the world that will then return and reward you with income? Because, when I sit back and I really think about it, right? Growing up, going through high school, going through middle school, I saw the typical situation. I want y'all to follow me here. Growing up, I saw my family working, going to school, retiring. So here's exactly what I saw. It was, hey, go to school, go to college, go to a university. Once you graduate, after you've racked up so much debt, go get you a real nice job. A real nice job was making on average around that time in the early 2000s, you was making what? Right around anywhere between, actually, we really weren't going for salaries, right? We was getting hourly pay. So around that time we was making anywhere between $10 to $15 an hour. Oh, you were gold. Like you were rich during that time. But here's the system. Here's the system that was teaching us. Go to school, rack up student loan debt, get out, get you a good job, making $10 to $15 an hour, which is about $30,000 to $35,000 a year. Once you get you a good job, work there for 40 years. Once you work there for 40 years, retire. Actually, as you're working there for 40 years, get you a home. Get you a home. Once you get you a home, then you work the rest of your 40 years. Then what? You retire. Once you do all that, then that's wealth. Let me say this one more time. Go to school, get a good job, purchase you a home, retire. Now you're wealthy. And as I was looking at this system, I was like, that looks so boring. I have to go to school and I got to rack up all this debt. Y'all, I went to school. Y'all know my story. I went to school, and for me and for Anthony ONeal, for what I needed to do, for what my sauce, that was so good right there, for the effectiveness of my sauce was not the route of going to school. But because I saw this, and because my parents said this, and everyone in the world was all following this route, it was either this. It was either go to school, get you a job, or skip school, go straight into the military. There was no other option. You're either going to go to college or you're going to go to the military. You choose. So I chose, all right, since my family's going to make me do it, I'm going to go there. No one sat down with me and said, Anthony, what's your sauce, man? No one sat down with me and said, hey, what is the choice? What is special and unique about you? What is it that God fearfully and wonderfully put inside of you? What is it that you can do in your sleep? What is it that you can do for free? What is it that you are passionate about? I often get questions about life insurance, where to buy, how to find affordable rates, the simplest application process, and most importantly, where to secure coverage instantly. Like, people don't want to wait a long time. They want the coverage right now. Giving the startling statistic that nearly 40% of African Americans do not have life insurance coverage today, it's even more critical to address these questions. My recommendation to all these questions is simple. My friends over at Ethos Life Insurance. These are the people who hold my life insurance policy. You see, their mission is to simplify life insurance and make it accessible online to everyone. No paperwork, no medical exams, or check this out, no blood tests. You simply answer some health questions online, and just like that, you can secure coverage the exact same day. But the cherry on the top, family, Ethos offers an incredible deal that I wish I had when I signed up with them for my life insurance policy about 2 years ago. You see, when you secure a life insurance policy through them, they will throw in a will and estate plan for 100% free. I'm tripping and I'm excited at the same time because I personally spent $2,500 on my estate plan at the beginning of this year. So getting it free with a life insurance policy that might cost you as low as $50, that's a no-brainer. I mean, like none. Don't just take my word for it. You see, Tanner R., a customer, secured a $500,000 30-year policy without a physical exam through Ethos. He says the price was great. The process was completely easy. You see, Ethos truly values our time. You see, Alex got approved for a $1 million policy in just 5 minutes. She said, simple and straight to the point. Comments were, surprisingly, user-friendly and great communication. So, are you ready to protect your family's financial future? Don't let this statistic define you. I want you to get covered today and get a will and get the life insurance policy and get the what's it called? The estate plan for 100% free. All you gotta do is go to anthonyoneal.com/ethos. Again, that is anthonyoneal.com/ethos. Secure your coverage today and ensure peace of mind for your loved ones. All right, let's get back to today's show. And then from there, once we identify your sauce to this world, what does the Bible say? We are the light of the darkness. We are the salt of this earth. What is your sauce? What is your salt? What is your light? Then once you identify that, let's identify the route for you. But no one asked me that question. No one asked me. Everyone told me what to do. And parents, I want to sit here and I want to challenge you and I want to check some of you. Don't force your kids to live out the dream you wish you lived out. Ooh, I know the comments coming for me. Comments are coming for me. Your kids' responsibility is not to live a dream that you failed at. Your kids' responsibility is not to do the things that you wish you could have done. And I get you, parents. You want the best for your kids and you feel as if that was the best route, but maybe that was the best route for you, but you missed out on that. Ask your daggone child, what's your sauce? And you should be able to see the sauce in your kids. My mama saw Anthony is going to be either a preacher or a speaker. But they never honestly sat back and said, hey, Anthony, what is the best route for the gift and the sauce that you have? So I went off to school. And because that wasn't my sauce, because that wasn't my choice, I was forced into a life that I had to figure out how to manage. And because I had to figure out how to manage that life, I made some poor decisions because that wasn't my direction. I was forced. I was fed. Watch this. Ooh, this is so good. I was led into that direction because that was all that was in front of me. Throughout high school, all you heard was, you gotta go to school, you gotta go to school. If you're not going to school, you're gonna be broke and miserable for the rest of your life. If you don't get a degree, you're gonna be da-da-da-da-da-da. But no. Someone should have said, Anthony, what's your sauce? And y'all know my story. I won't repeat my story. But when you're outside of your sauce, when you're outside of your gift, you tend to lose the traction that you would have because you're not operating inside of your anointing. I ain't trying to get too spiritual. Let me get practical. It's because you're not operating within inside of your gift. You're not operating within inside of your skill. You're not operating within the direction of where you should go. And so I tried to please all my friends. I tried to blend into a world that wasn't for me. I tried to please these young ladies. And next thing you know, because of me, because of being led this way, I made poor decisions. I racked up $30,000, $40,000 worth of debt. I made a dumb decision in college trying to impress my friends. I ended up homeless. I ended up really messing up my life. But the grace of God, while homeless, while asking people, can I borrow some money so I can eat? While taking showers at the Boys and Girls Club in the YMCA in Oceanside, California, while doing all that, God was still bringing me back to my sauce, to my direction of where my world needs to be. And I'll never forget, one of the tops I read, I started reading books around that time. One of the very first books that I read, man, was Rich Dad, Poor Dad from Robert Kiyosaki. Then I took Financial Peace University from Dave Ramsey. But there is this book that I'm going to put in the show notes today that really shifted and changed my perspective on things, and it was called The Wealth Choice: Success Secrets of Black Millionaires. I'm gonna say it one more time. The Wealth Choice: Success Secrets of Black Millionaires. This is with Napoleon Hill, the Napoleon Hill Foundation, and Napoleon Hill is the author of How to Win Friends and Influence. That's Dale Carnegie. I forgot the other book Napoleon Hill wrote. But this book shifted me. Here's why. Because this book exposed me to other people who looked like me, who became millionaires when it was hard to become millionaires. And while I was reading this book, man, the things that they were doing, I was like, yo, I want this lifestyle. I don't want to have to go to school, and I don't want to have to, work a job for 40 years. That's not my sauce. My soft is talking. My soft is not my soft. My sauce is communicating. My skill set is I'm good with my hands. I'm good with encouraging people. God, what can I do? Your sauce could be, I'm good with doing hair. Your sauce could be, man, I have a passion for healing people. So you have to go to school so you can become a doctor. Your sauce could be is I understand the brain. I know how to maneuver and help people think differently. Your route is going to school. But if your sauce is I can build things. I'm good with building and architect. You don't have to go to a 4-year school. You can go to a trade school. You can do this. I'm good with numbers and I'm good with coding and I get turned on by seeing different numbers on the screen. So that means you love technology. Your sauce is not going to take you to a 4-year school. You can go to a trade school. Actually, better yet, hold up, wait a minute. You can go to a boot camp that will cost you $400, like Course Careers, right? You can be out of that school within 2 months making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year. And what is the number one field in the career space that's making millionaires? It's the tech field. But if you don't really identify your sauce, if you don't identify your direction, right? You're slowing yourself down from making millions because you're trying to follow somebody else's sauce. I know people who went to Course Careers because their sauce was, I love building website. I love coding. What? I know someone who said, you know what? I'm good at selling. But I don't want to have my own business, so I just went and sold cars. I think that's crazy. I had a young lady say, I love talking to people. I just don't like cold calling. Man, I know people I've had on my show, and we'll link to that. Michelle, put that in the show notes. We'll link to a couple of our success stories when it comes to people who identified their sauce when it came to tech sales, when it came to technology, took a boot camp that was $400, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now they're making 6+ figures. We have one guy on the show who spent $400 and now he's making over $500,000 a year. A year. Because he went through a program like Course Careers. If you want to check out Course Careers, hey, I'm going to link it in today's show notes. You can go to anthonyoneal.com/tech sales. It is absolutely amazing. But what am I saying? You have to identify your sauce. And in this book, The Wealth Choice, this book exposed me to people who look like me, who identified their sauce. One of the guys that I read about loved driving, so he opened up a limousine company and made like $1.2 million a year. I think one of the most encouraging things about this book is that it reminded me that I have a choice of the direction that I want to go. And that I don't have to listen to my parents. I don't have to do what my parents want me to do. I don't have to do what the world tells me I need to do. Because when God was forming me in my mother's womb, when he was knitting me in my mother's womb, he purposely had an assignment for my life. And it is my responsibility to identify what is that assignment. What is special about Anthony ONeal? And when I can identify what's that special thing, then I need to jump into that thing. And when I jump into that thing, that's when millions are coming. Some of you are working jobs right now and you know you shouldn't be doing that. Some of you all are in businesses right now and you know you shouldn't be doing that, but you're following someone else's sauce for your life. So the number one thing, if you're gonna make millions in your 20s and in your 30s and in your young 40s, you gotta find your sauce, not my sauce, not their sauce, not what they say you should be doing, but your sauce, because you have to feel good and you gotta love. I wake up every single day loving what I do and who I get to do it with. Which leads me into my number two thing. And I want to say this in the correct way. In the correct way, because I think some of you will take this wrong. But I have to say it. I cannot not say it. There are very few jobs that will allow you to become a millionaire, a multimillionaire. But jobs are still needed. I believe jobs teach us how to be the boss that we wish we had. Jobs gives us, I think jobs are now becoming education. It's now becoming your college programs. If you can stay on the job and learn for, you know what I'm saying, a few years and be the best you can, serve there, that's giving you two edges, right? It's giving you two edges. Number one, it's showing God that you can be faithful and you can be a good steward of any opportunity that he gives you. If you go into it with the right motive, if you've had a job saying, I'm going to come in here, I'm going to do my very best. I'm going to serve. I'm going to help this company grow. I'm going to give it my very best. I'm not going to come in here just to get a job so I can fund my own thing, give them poor work so I can give me 100% great. Because what's going to happen is you're going to reap what you sow. You give your job crap, then you get your own business, you hire someone. Now they're giving you crap because you sold crap. Yeah. That's the problem that I have with this younger generation. This younger generation, which I'm still getting into number two. This younger generation want to jump from high school, college, straight into being a business owner. But you've never been upset at your job and maintained your credibility. You've never got on a job and you say, you know what, I'm going to treat this job like it's my business. I'm going to give this job not just what they pay me for, but go over and beyond. And a lot of y'all are thinking, well, if I do not do that, if I should not do that because they don't pay me for that. Well, how much has God given us and we don't deserve it? It's not about what you're getting in return. It's about what is the ultimate vision? What is the ultimate goal for you? You don't need advancement from your boss. You need advancement from God. And if God can't see that he can trust you making 50, 80, 70, whatever you're making at your job, what makes you think he's going to give you a whole business to run and you can't even be a good steward over a job? But all of a sudden you can be a good steward over your business. So let me get there. Let me get there. Because I want to set this up correctly. I want to set this up correctly. There's very few jobs outside of the tech space that's going to position you to where you can make $1 million. I don't believe everyone needs to be a full-time entrepreneur, but I do believe, here's what I do believe. If you want to make millions, you have to start a business. Have to. You have to start a business because it's the business that is going to allow you to position yourself to have ownership. Now, white people, I love you. I love you. I want to say that up front. I love you. Let me talk to my black brothers and sisters real quick. Black brothers and sisters, I believe that we are some of the most creative group of people. We come up with some of the greatest ideas. We have some of the greatest concepts. I learned that, in this book. I'm like, wow, how did you come up with that? Wow. Y'all, in the hair industry, I say this with all love and all respect, but them white people can't touch us when it comes to our hairstyles. Like we are so creative. The hair industry alone is up in the $800 billion a year bracket. But we don't even own 3% of it. So we're the most creative, but we don't have ownership. And so if we're going to make millions, we have to start owning what we create. We have to have a level of ownership in it. Comes back to the whole purpose of this show, The Table. We have to start sitting at the head of the table that we own. And some of y'all may be sitting there thinking, well, Anthony, man, I have a job and I like my job. That's great. I want you to love your job. I want you to stay on that job until God clearly tells you it is time for you to transition. Because here's the truth. Everyone can't own a business. We're going to need a Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen made millions. I believe second chair, third chair people can make millions if you are faithful to the grounds that God has given you, but you still should have a level of ownership and something that you have. If that's a full-time business and you have a side, if that's a full-time job and you have a side business, great. Because here's what I'm saying. If let's say you're a great assistant, you know what? You should have a side business teaching other people how to be great assistants. Let's say you're a great graphic artist. You know how to see someone's vision and bring it to life. Cool, great. Do that full time. But then on the side, you're starting businesses by what? Teaching other people how to do what you do great. This is what this is what my friend Amy Porterfield calls your 10% edge. No, you probably didn't go to school for this, but you've been doing it for a year, 2 years. You've gained, you've grown, you've learned, and you've turned that now into a business of something that you own, but you're still going to your job because you know why? You love it. So I wanna write this down. Write this down. Exactly what is a business? Some of y'all think, but is this, is that? No. Let me tell you, it's simple. A business is I see a void and I fill it. Period. A business sees a void, I can fill that void. I can fix that. And in return for fixing that, they're compensated. I see that homes need to be built. But homes need to be built with love, or maybe homes need to be built a little bit faster, or homes need to be built a little bit more modern, make it look a little bit better. Let me go fill that void, and because I can fill that void, you're going to have to compensate me. I will never be out of business because people would never be out of debt. I'm filling a void. I'm helping people get out of debt. And as long as I'm helping people get out of debt and build wealth, what's happening? I'm being compensated for my teaching. Avoid. Well, Anthony, there's so many hair businesses out there. No, there's not. Half of the hair businesses, in my perspective, suck. Anthony, there's so many barbers out there. No, they're not. Because half of the barbers out there are always late. See a void and you fill it. Anthony, I'm good with my hands. Okay, cool, great. What's the void you see? Well, I see that barbers are sometimes late. And what I think that they're doing, watch this. I'm giving y'all some barbers some help. They're charging less and they're trying to fill up as many spots rather than saying, you know what? I guarantee you, if you book with me, I will be on time. Your line will be crispy. I don't have to spray that black stuff on your head to cover up my blemishes because I was rushing to get to the next guest. If I spray the blackness, it's because I want that thing to be really crispy because you got a date, you're going out with your wife, you're trying to make a kid, and you need to look extra crispy for it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not to cover up my blemishes.
Preach.
You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, too, while I'm doing your beard, I'm gonna lay you back and I'm gonna give you a face massage and make sure that your hair is clean when you leave here so that when you leave my chair, you don't have hair all over your shirt and all over your back of your ears, and you can go to work and you look fresh. But in exchange for me guaranteeing this, to fill this void, I have to go up my prices because I have to create more margin in between my clients. Let me tell you right now, there is a barber in Miami that my boy connected me to. He charges $125 for a haircut. He only cuts about maybe 7 people's hair that day. Because he saw a void. Well, I see it. I mean, yeah, I could charge $35, $40 for a haircut, but I gotta put a lot of people in there. Some days he'll only cut 5 people. He was like, man, when you get in the chair, I don't wanna feel rushed. Because if I'm rushed, then I know the haircut's not gonna be proper. So if you wanna come to me, and know when you set an appointment, I'm on time, your hair gonna be crispy, the lady's gonna be like, yes, sir. Your wife is gonna be like, yes, come here. You gotta pay for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what a business does. It sees a void, it fills it, and in exchange for filling that void, they are compensated. What could you fill? So to me, there's 3 types of businesses, right? There's 3 types of businesses that I think we all fall up underneath. And here's the 3 types. You have a service-based business. A service-based business is simply going to be, let's say for an example, taxes are going to be coming up here real soon, right? So that's a service. You go to that person, they do your taxes, they give you back. That's not a product. You're not exchanging something physical. It's, hey, I want to come to you to get my taxes done. That is a service. I want to come to you I'm getting married. I need some nice invitations made. That is a service, right? That's graphics, hair. That is service. I'm going to do service for you. I'm going to service your hair. I'm going to cut your hair. The next type of business is going to be a product-based business where you actually sell products. Maybe you're in the candle business. Maybe you are in making, I don't think you can make hair. So correct me if I'm right or wrong inside the chat, you guys. I don't want to be rude, but you can sell hair. Okay, you can't really make it because it's coming from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you make it. I don't know how you sell the weave, but that's a product-based business. A hair store, a product-based business. A boutique online, ladies, that is a product-based business. You see what I'm saying? So you're exchanging money for an actual physical product, right? Or service-based business, you're exchanging money for someone's time and their time of giving you service, right? Then the next 3rd type of business is a business that I'm in that's relatively still new and modern and the world is still catching up to it. It's the content creation business. This is when you're taking your wisdom, your knowledge, your life experiences, and you're turning that into content to help people get out of debt like myself, to help people build wealth, to help people do whatever you have that 10% edge on. They're saying in the content creation business by 2025, this will be a $20 billion plus industry. And all I need is a couple of million of it. That's all I need. That's all I need. The number 1 YouTuber on the world is Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is making anywhere from I think he's making like $1 million a day. I know he's close to that. I can't remember exactly the terms. Team, look it up for me real quick, Jay. I just want to make sure I'm saying this right. Mr. Beast, I think he's right around, it's either like $500,000 to $1 million a day. He's making a week or something like that. He's making a lot. My team's gonna let me know here real quick. But he is making a whole lot of money. My business in the content creation business does 6 figures a month plus, right? And how you doing this? You're doing this by simply taking my experience. Let's say you have a year, you've been debt-free for a year, or you're on your debt-free journey for a year, right? He makes $1 million a day. He makes $1 million a week, Mr. Beast. That's $4 million a month. Do you know how long that's going to take us to make $1 million? The average person make $1 million. Let's go back to it. Let's say you're in the top 1% and you're at 39 making $430,000. Let's just round that up to $430,000 a year. It takes you 2 years to make what he makes in 1 week. Oh my goodness. That's the content creation space, though. That is the today. That is not the future. Because if you don't jump on this opportunity now, that is going to slow you down. And here's what I love about the content creation space. You have to get to a point to where you are willing to actually learn. And if you're really going to win in this space, you have to take what you have and you got to turn it into a course. That is one of the key things. You have brand deals in the content creation space, sponsorship in the content creation space, but one of the most effective ways to make millions quickly, dude, I'm gonna show you the math. To make $1 million in the content creation space, you only need to sell 2,000 people at $490 per person. Let's round it to 500. If you can get 2,000 people to give you $500, that's $1 million. And it's not hard. I'm going to purposely put this in here because I think it's definitely going to help you. My friend, Amy Porterfield, who made $15 million just last year from selling courses and teaching people how to build courses. She's hosting a boot camp that is only $47, and it's a 5-day boot camp. And she's going to be teaching all of us how to make courses. Even if you don't have no idea on what your course should be on, she's going to help you understand what is your 10% edge. What is it that you know a little bit more than the next person, and you could turn that into a course and make an extra $10,000, $15,000 this year simply by putting your information while you're on your job, teaching what you know on your job, turn it into a course, teaching that to the rest of the world. You just put an extra $10,000, $15,000 in your pocket. If you want to sign up for this course, this is what I'm going to do. If you sign up for this boot camp, I am going to give you a free tool that we're releasing here in the next month or so, right? It is a tool, we're calling it the Wealth Builder Tracker tool, where we're going to be sitting down. It's an Excel document or a Google Doc document, and it's like 10, 15 pages, and we're going to help you track your wealth. We're going to show you how much you need to be spending on your home, your groceries, your car. We're going to even help you understand how much money you have gross, how much money you have net. We're going to show you how to keep more net income. We're going to show you, are you on track to your investments properly, right? We're going to put all that. It's a $50 product, but if you get into this course with me, into this boot camp with me for Amy Porterfield, listen, we're going to put that in there 100% free. We're going to drop it to you in your email box. So to join this boot camp for $47, that could in return give you another $10,000, $15,000. Yo, go to anthonyoneal.com/CC bootcamp. We will put it in today's show notes, and I promise you it will be worth it. Because if you do not start your own business, it is going to be very hard for you to hit the millionaire status in your 30s, in your 20s, and in your young 40s. Because I know a lot of you all are in your 40s who are watching me, right? We don't have to wait to retire with $1 million. I wanted to come up with a game plan on how do we get that right now? How do we get that right now? Well, Anthony, how did you start off in your space? Well, you guys know me. I actually worked several jobs. I had an opportunity of being a youth pastor at 2 big mega churches, and I had an opportunity of serving with Dave Ramsey and the Ramsey Solution organization there. And while I was there, yes, man, I was sitting there mapping out my direction, but my future and what I'm going to do and building the brand and making sure that I knew what I was going to do. And when God saw fit for me to transition 100% out on my own, year one, yeah, man, we did very, very, very well. Because I had already been working on it, but I was still serving at my 110% capacity. I was still giving it my very, 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 very best. But I started off in a service area, right? I started helping people really understand how to get out of debt. I was speaking. People would pay me money to come speak on their stage. I would take my content and I would serve their audience. So I was in the service business and content creation business. And then I just completely moved over to the content creation business. And y'all, my company does multiple millions a year, every single year, based upon this. Now I am able to have options. It opens up doors, and I can honestly do what I want to do, when I want to do it, however I want to do it. And that's where I want to get us. So number 2, you got to start your business, which leads me into that because I think a lot of people will start. I think a lot of people will start, but a lot of them will not be intentional. A lot of people will, okay, man, I'm going to start this business, but you will not be intentional about starting the business. And so that's number 3. I want you to be intentional about building a side business. What does this look like? I want you to come home after you work 8 hours at your job, when you leave your job. I want you to skip for this next 12 months. I want you to skip happy hour. Y'all don't like that, I understand. Anthony, you want me to skip my time with my girls? Bruh, you know how many baddies be out there at happy hour to get that $5 cocktail? Bro, are you trying to get the bag or are you trying to get a $5 cocktail seeing a baddie? Let me talk to the singles for a minute. My game sucks. My game sucks. I don't know how to holler at a woman. I don't have them one-liners, girl, you look so good, you the apple of my eye. What? Girl, when you walked past me, I had a whiplash. What? I don't know that. I failed. I sucked at it. But here's what I did realize. When I started being intentional about building something, when I started being intentional about writing down a vision and sticking to that vision, do you know how many ladies came because they saw this is an intentional man who is building something? I can follow that man. I didn't have to say whiplash. I didn't have to say apple of my eye, sweet of my tooth. I didn't have to say none of that. I just started working. I just started building. Watch this, and I wasn't perfect. I'm still not perfect. God is still working on your boy every single day. But every single day when I get up, I am intentional about building my business. I am intentional about building and going after my vision. So what am I saying? If you're going to say you're going to start a business, be intentional about every single day working on that business. Every single day. Every day. One of the things I'm doing within my company is I tell all of my guys, I was like, hey man, listen, I remember, it's a true story. When I first interviewed with Dave and them, I asked Dave a question. I said, hey Dave, will I be able to take care of my wife one day the way you take care of your wife? Dave said it quickly. He said, no. I own a company. You don't. But you will be able to take care of your wife in a very nice way. And pretty much what he was saying was like, man, I'm gonna take good care of you. And he did take financially good care of me, right? But it was a crazy question for me to ask a man who owns the company, because it came off saying like, will I be able to make as much money as him? No. And here's the truth. People who work with me will not be able to make as much money as me inside of my company, but I want them to make as much as me by working with me and by building something of their own. And so I tell all of my team members, hey, as long as you get the job here done, build your business on the side. Better yet, we're opening up a studio here in the DMV area. I told all of them, you can use a studio for your stuff. Just communicate with me, and as long as the job is getting done, go build it, because I want you to eat, man. I want us all pulling up in Lamborghinis. I want us all pulling up in whatever we want. I want us all going on vacations and doing what we want. Because I understand one thing. I can't sit here and teach the world to build wealth. I can't sit here and teach the world to build a business. And I tell my team members, you can't build nothing. No, I can't do that. I want you to win, just as long as the job is getting done. And man, my team is doing a great job at making sure the job is getting done. But I'll walk into the office after the job is done and I'll see them working on other stuff, their other businesses, and I ain't tripping. Because I want them to eat. They got families. They got kids. They need to leave a legacy. The last thing I want to tell someone, and this is just me growing and maturing, right? The last thing I want to tell someone is I'm building a legacy of wealth, prosperity, freedom for my kids. And the only legacy that you can build is your 401k. I'm not knocking jobs. I'm not knocking jobs. I'm not knocking jobs. But you have to be intentional. And while being intentional about building a business, you have to be a good steward of what God has in your hand right now. Because here's what I would think. I think some of you all will misuse the sauce God gave you. What I mean by that, God gave you this sauce. You go to your job, you give it 30%. You come home, you give yourself 100%. And then you wonder why. Well, why is this thing not kicking off? And why is this thing not jumping off the way that it should be going? It's because God is not pleased with how you're stewarding your sauce with the job. Because watch this. Some of y'all, you're going to catch this. Put it in the chat if you catch it. Put it in the chat if you catch this. The same way God made you, he made your boss. Same way God made you, he made that business. And God brought you to that business to help his vision with that business go somewhere. So you're looking at, oh, that's his, that's the man's, that's the lady's. No, it's God's. And so God is saying, hey, I brought you here to give and to learn. So give your very best here. So when you go home, so when you skip happy hour and you go home, I'm going to bless that because you're being obedient and a good steward over here. Now I'm going to bless this. And I believe the reason why God put me through so much, the reason why God waited until I was like 36, 37 years old to start my own business, because sometimes I was slacking over here. I'm gonna be real. I would show up, give it my all. Then I get bad at my boss, or I get mad at this, and I would just, forget it. But you gotta be intentional. What does intentionality look like? When you go to your job 8 to 5, you're not working on your job. You're not working on your business. You're serving your best. You're contributing to the atmosphere and to the environment, to the business God has you in. Then when you get off of that, I'm not saying for the next year, do not have any fun. No. What I'm saying is budget out your time the way you budget out your money. Okay, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna give myself an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You're gonna have a conversation with your wife and with your spouse and say, hey, you know what, babe? I feel as if over the next year, 2 years, we could be doing this full time. Or, babe, hey, you know what? On the next year, I love my job, but I wanna generate an extra $5,000 a month, an extra $10,000 a month. Doing this thing on the side, I think I can. I think I can create a course that's teaching people how to be a good assistant, that's teaching people how to do what I do on my job. So I'm gonna take this Amy Porterfield boot camp and I'm gonna learn it. And, babe, we're gonna come home, we're gonna do this thing right here. Some of you all have had 2 or 3 mothers, 2 or 3 daughters as a mother, 2 or 3 children as a mother. You birthed them. You know how to put them to sleep. You know how to feed them. You know how to breastfeed them. You know the science around raising a newborn. You could put that into a course and make an extra $5,000. Do you know how many people are scared, are nervous about becoming a first-time mother? I was talking with Alex, who's our creative director, and his wife is on our network, Culinary Effects, and we're going to drop her information in the show as well. And she just started this new show. And I told him, I said, hey, man, I want to see a little bit more of her cooking. And here's why. Because she is a beast at cooking. She is a monster at cooking. Like she makes delicious food, which is why y'all need to watch the Culinary Effect. And I said, yo, Alex, hey, bro, put some of the recipes in there. Give me some of the recipes. And I say, you know why? And I hate to say this like this, but do you know how many ladies do not know how to cook? And do you know how many ladies will come to your wife to learn how to cook? Okay, wait. Alex approved that recipe right there? That's a man? Oh, shoot, my baby may approve. Let me get that recipe. Do you know how many people will come to you to learn what you have? You don't have to be the best in the world. You just gotta have that 10% edge. So you gotta be intentional about coming home, shooting that content, putting that content up. You gotta come home about doing whatever that business is. Give yourself 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Sit down with your family if you're married, if you have kids, say, hey, y'all, over the next year, over the next 12 months, we're gonna be intentional about this. We may not take as many vacations. We may not go out. And it's not because we're broke. It's not because we're living paycheck to paycheck. It's because I wanna make sure that we have so many options, and I know that God has given me this sauce, and I wanna use it. So on Monday through Thursday, this is how the days are going to look like when I come home. I'll make sure dinner is good. I help out with homework. But after 7 o'clock at night, I need to dial in for 2 hours so I can work and then get to bed at a decent time so I can be effective when I go to work the next morning. And I promise you, if you're intentional about stewarding your time well when you get home, right? When you get to your job, as long as you are performing and even somewhat overperforming, you'll never have an issue with your job. I've never had to tell my people who work with us and be like, hey man, I see you putting so much work in over there, but you slacking over here. I don't see that. We just hired an assistant video director, Alex, who just joined the team. He's so solid, man. He just joined, and he said the other day, he was like, man, I'm going to spend this weekend, I'm going to go do a teaching and training on creative with the church. I said, man, that's dope. That's what's up. Like, he's doing the job. He's getting it done. My boy CJ, my right-hand man since I was 20 years old, has a business on the side. He's never slacked with me. Never. But he's helping and serving other people. So you got to be intentional in stewarding your time well on both sides, which leads me to the number 4, which is you got to be intentional about spending time to learn. So number 4 is you have to be intentional about learning. So being intentional about building a business, this is where I wish I would have spent more of my time in my early 30s. I wish I would have spent more of my time in my early 30s listening to podcasts like Amy Porterfield Marketing, like John Maxwell, like the Dave Ramsey Show, actually listening to it, actually. You know what I'm saying? Before I joined this team, learning more about money and different perspectives on money. I wish I would have read more books like The Wealth Choice, more books. I wish I would have spent time learning and really diving in. And watch this. I wish I would have spent more time investing into a business coach. I wish I would have spent more time investing into small masterminds. So many people have so many issues with masterminds and paying people to coach you. And I respect that if you have a problem with that. But I would definitely say just recently, I put my business out there. I spent about $30,000 to join a mastermind group. And inside of this mastermind group, I'll be honest with you, I was nervous because I was one of the only black people. I think out of like 50 to 100, it was only 3 of that black people. And I was like, am I going to learn? Am I going to grow from this? What am I going to do? And honestly, it was one of the best investments I've ever made in my business. One of the best investments I've ever made inside of my business because it put me around a group of people, right, that were doing, I met one guy who was doing $100 million a year. I met another guy who was doing like $20 million a year. And so when I got into this room, when I got inside this environment, I say, I'm going to learn. I'm going to shut up because everyone's like, oh man, this is Anthony ONeal. You know what I'm saying? Former Ramsey personality, former youth pastor, former this, former that. He's killing it right now. Hey man, come up here and teach us something. I say, you know what, y'all? This is a group to where I don't want to teach nothing. I'll help, but I'm really here I want to learn. I want to ask questions. I want to dive into it. I met this guy, and such a phenomenal guy, and he taught me how to properly sell. I know how to communicate. I know how to speak. I know how to deliver God's word. I know how to encourage people, but I didn't know, speaking and selling while speaking is 2 totally different things. And I'm still learning, and I ended up paying this guy to be my sales coach. I met a business coach in there. I ended up paying this guy to show me how do I really effectively run a business. And he taught me, he said, hey man, when it comes to running a business, you got to take care of your team. If you want low turnover and high productivity from your team members, you got to really take care of your team. Are you giving them other incentives to want to stay? Are you giving them pay raises? Are you giving them commission and stake inside the company? Hey, Anthony, why are you working 5 days a week? You should give your team off on Fridays. Hey, I know you're moving into the studio. Let's not make them work every single day, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. Let's give them some options to where, hey, Mondays they may have to come in, Wednesdays they may have to come in, Tuesday they can work a half day or whatever that is. It's like, man, here's how you run an effective business, because a lot of people get into business and they think that their staff members are their actual, they control their staff members when their staff members need to feel like team members. Then watch this. He said, they're not family, they're team members. You don't want to be too close and too soft, because then they'll be like, wait. But then you don't want to treat them like they're just a puppet. It needs to be a middle ground in between. It needs to be like the NBA team. Okay, yo, we're on this team all for a purpose that benefits us as well. If the company wins, it benefits them. If the company doesn't win, it hurts them too. So it's like, hey, yes, I may trade 4 years down the road. I may be LeBron, start in Cleveland, go to Miami, go from Miami back to Cleveland, go from Cleveland to LA. I may be that, but when I'm on the team, I'm on the team. So I treat them like team members. We treat each other like team members. And I learned that from my business coach. So now we don't work Fridays. Now everybody on my team gets commission, gets an incentive based upon the success of the company. But also, too, I had to learn, how do I market my brand? How do I grow my brand? How do I grow a following? How do we sell products? That's called marketing. So I started listening to my girl, Amy Porterfield. I pulled up her podcast. What other podcasts am I listening to? Let me pull up my phone, because I want to give y'all some good podcasts that I listen to. So of course I got my show in there, Anthony. Then you have Gold Digger by Jenna Kutcher, and she is a beast. Like, she is killing right now. The Mental Wealth Show. I listen to other money shows. Earn Your Leisure. Online Marketing Made Easy by Amy Porterfield. Then what's another one? I'm listening to? Oh, The Journey with Morgan DeBond, and she's killing. A Double Dose Podcast by Twins. What's another one? Earn and Invest is a good one. The Ramsey Show, His and Her Money. I Will Teach You to Be Rich. And then my boy Lewis Howes, The Dating Motivation with Lewis Howes. And what else I got in here? Brown Ambition with Mandy and Tiffany. What else I got in here? The Redefining Wealth Podcast with Patrice Washington. How I Built This. You see what I'm saying? I'm listening. I'm not just on Netflix. I'm not just on Hulu. And the new season of, what's it called, just dropped, though. I may have to turn that on. I watch TV. But what am I saying? I'm being intentional about learning. So now if I can't go to sleep and I know it's past my specific bedtime hour, I will actually turn on a podcast and I will listen to that podcast. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm showering, I'll turn on a podcast. When I'm watching, when I'm eating lunch in the middle of the day, I'll turn on a podcast. When I'm driving, some days I'll turn on a podcast. I remember one time I was listening to a podcast, I had all my windows rolled down, and I guess the podcast had said something that my driver or the driver next to me heard. I was like, hey, bro, what is that? I just put up my phone, I showed him. So, hey, can I take a screenshot? And I was like, yeah, I put it closer to the window so he could see it. But I'm being very, very intentional, very, 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 very intentional about learning. You cannot grow a business and you will not make millions if you are not spending time in reading books like The Wealth Choice, reading books like Disruptive Thinking from Bishop T.D. Jakes, if you're not reading books like Debt Free Degree from myself, if you're not reading books and listening to podcasts and joining small groups and joining boot camps like Amy Porterfield, if you're not constantly learning, you are not, watch this, you are not growing. Because here it is, being intentional is the foundation, but learning is the supplementation. That's good right there. That's good. You see, being intentional, doing it is the foundation. Starting it is the foundation, but learning is a supplementation, AKA for me, learning is a supplement. And what does supplement do? It just enhances your body. Protein shakes, it's a supplement. It just enhances and helps your muscles. but working out is a foundation. So you got to start. Here's the last one. You got to be intentional about keeping your fruit. You have to be intentional about keeping your fruit. What do you mean by fruit, Anthony? Think of a tree. You spend a lot of time to dig that hole, sow that seed, plant that seed inside of the hole, put it into good soil. And you got to water that soil. As you're watering that soil, you see the tree grow. You don't see the fruit yet. You see the tree grow, and it grows, and you keep watering, and you make sure it's getting the proper sunlight, the proper water. The tree is growing. The tree is growing. You see the leaves. Next thing you know, you see your fruit. And it's something about me. It's we need fruit to eat, but I've rarely, hardly see an empty fruit tree, because you want to be intentional about keeping some of the fruit on the tree. And that's the same thing with our money. We can make all these millions, but the reason why some millionaires, I know people who's made $1 million in a year, but they're not millionaires. And it's because they ate all their fruit. They spent all of their fruit. And what I mean by fruit, you're working Monday through Sunday. You're putting in all this hard labor, and someone else is getting your fruit. Someone else is getting the fruit of your hard labor, your bill collectors, your happy hours, your clubs, your girlfriends, the clothing, high brand, Louis, Gucci, you name it. You know, the banks, the car industry, the housing industry. You know, everyone else is getting the fruit of your labor. You're doing all of the planting. You're getting up on every single day at 5 a.m. Get your kids to, you know, dress and feed them and drop them off to school and go to work and deal with people cussing you out, deal with people getting on your nerves, and you're still showing up. You're still being a good steward, and you come home and, you know, you got to help your kids. You come home, you're being intentional about starting this business and growing your business, and you got to, you know, still got to be there for your husband. You still got to be there for your wife. You still got to be there for your kids, and you're doing that day by day by day by day by day. And then when you get paid on Friday or on the 1st or the 15th of the month, all of your fruit is going to the bill collectors, going to everyone else. And when you look on your checking account, look in your checking account on Monday, it's empty. You did all the work. You were intentional about digging deep. You were intentional about making sure the soul is right. You were intentional about making sure that you're using your sauce. You're seeing the tree grow. Woo! You're seeing their businesses grow. You're seeing the Louis Vuitton making better products. You're seeing everybody else's grow. You're seeing your tree grow. But when you look at your tree, there's no fruit on it. And it's because we have too much debt. It's because we're not investing. It's because we don't have a fully funded emergency fund. It's because we do not have a clear budget. It's because we somewhat have a vision for our life, but we don't have a vision for our money. You can make millions, but you can lose all of it. And I know several millionaires who make the money. Well, no, I said that wrong. I know several people who make $100,000, $500,000, $1 million a year. But their net worth is 0 to negative because they're not keeping their fruit. What does this mean? I don't want that to be you. This is why I want you to subscribe to the channel. This is why I want you to dive in deep on my website and go learn how to get out of debt. Go learn how to properly invest. Go learn where should you be parking your savings account. Go learn the basics when it comes to finances. So as you start making these millions, you can keep it. And here's a bonus as I end today's show. It's a bonus one. that I cannot leave without saying this. Don't stop. You can't afford to stop. Your future can't afford for you to stop. Your future self is begging you inside, do not quit. And I think sometimes we tend to quit right when things were about to get better. You know how many brand deals I've gotten people to send me emails and, hey, we need to see this better. You know how many times people told me, man, I don't think you're going to be successful. You know how many times I wake up on YouTube and I see negative videos done about me and they don't even know me? You know how many times I've had people who I called friends talk about me behind my back? Do you know how many times I've woken up within the last 2 years, cried and questioned my sauce, questioned my business? You know how many times I've questioned, should I even be doing this? I'm human. I have feelings. I have emotions. I've gone through the process. That's why I see a therapist. This is why I recommend BetterHelp. And I couldn't stop. Because my future wife is depending on my choice right now. If I have kids, my future kids are depending on my choice right now. My 80-year-old self, if God grants me to make it to I'm 80, is depending on my 39-year-old choice right now. My team members, their families are depending on my choice right now. You all are depending on me to not quit. God, if I quit, what I'm saying is God saw something in me and it was wrong. I can't do that. The enemy is not going to, he's not. The enemy will not win. He will not win. I don't care what he says. I don't care what he does. I'm going to cry. I'm going to feel like giving up. I'm going to make mistakes. Watch this. I'm going to fail at certain things. But I don't care. You can't afford to quit. You can't afford to stop. Right now, you're watching me on your screen. But my friend, I need to be watching you on my screen. There is something on the inside of you that I need to be watching. There's something on the inside of you that the world needs. There is something on the inside of you that God is waiting for you to actually do because we need it. That's it. And if you're going to make millions, if you're going to make millions, you have to make an impact first. When you make an impact, the income follows. My family, my future wife, will have nothing to worry about because I didn't quit. And so if you want to make millions in your 30s and your 20s, this is the starting point. This is not the end all be all, but this is the starting point. Those 5 things help me make millions in my 30s. These 5 things will help me make, my prayer is, I have a number in my head. And my number is not a lot, honestly, I have a number in my head. When I hit that number, I'm done. I don't need to worry anymore. I'm not chasing $100 million. I'm chasing freedom. I'm chasing options. I'm chasing life. Y'all know me as I end today's show. Y'all know me, man. I'm taking my wife. When I get married, I'm taking my wife. I don't think Jay's never heard that. He's in the studio today with us. I'm taking my wife on 2 vacations when we get married. Our honeymoon's gonna be 2. We're gonna have 2 honeymoons. Each one gonna be 6 months long. And I'm telling her, hey, I need you to bring some. This is my wife. So y'all ain't gonna like what I'm about to say. I'm talking to my wife. I'm gonna say this one more time. Cause y'all ain't gonna like what I got to say. Y'all thinking I'm talking about all ladies. No. I'm talking about Anthony ONeal's wife. Not my girlfriend, not you. I'm talking about my wife. Did I say that enough, CJ? One more time? Okay. I am talking about Anthony ONeal's wife because I know my wife is gonna be down with it. But I'm gonna tell her, bring a thong bikini only, and we'll buy everything else as we travel. We're gonna leave everything here because we don't have no debt. Nope. We don't have no bills. We got our regular utility bills, stuff like that. All that's gonna be taken care of. And we're gonna be going for a whole year. We're gonna celebrate our marriage for a whole year. In countries. I didn't say a country. I said in countries. We gonna practice making babies. My God. I like the sound of that. Debt-free babies, Jay. Debt-free babies. Yes, Lord. But you know what? That's an option. Because I worked hard to get to where I'm at today. And I want to help you get there. I'm way over time. My team is looking at me like, boy, this is already like an hour and a 7-minute show. Can you shut up? And so we're good, man. No, listen, I love you all. If you all want to get inside of Amy Porterfield's boot camp, we're going to drop that information in today's show notes. That's going to help you make an extra $10,000, $15,000. And listen, we do millions in selling courses. And it's not just courses that are has a bunch of fluff. We actually have value inside of our courses that are changing people's lives, and she's going to help you do that. The boot camp starts on the 14th, and it will be ending right around the 19th, so it's 5 days for only $47. So we're going to put that information in today's show notes. Go to anthonyoneal.com/CC bootcamp. And y'all, put a comment in the chat. Welcome our new guy, Jay, to the team. He is the latest one to join us. Y'all been taking good care of Michelle. She is killing it right now. She's become a huge asset, and Jay will too. All right. Yo, we love you. We'll see you in the next show. Peace out. Don't forget to subscribe, y'all. Love y'all.